All right. The circle of life. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Circle of life. Uh, Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase. Hakuna Matata. Ain't no passing craze. And be the no worries for the rest of your days. It's all problem free philosophy. Kuna Matata. You know another one? Look for the bare necessities, the simple bare necessities. Forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the bare necessities, the kind that make you rest at ease, the simple bare necessities of life. Wherever I wander, wherever I roam, I surely found right in my home. The bees are buzzing in the trees to make some honey just for me. Oh man, that's such. Oh yeah. Oh, I was just talking to Abhinav about the bare necessities of life earlier, but let's stay on. I need to get in a better habit of running these meetings in a way that could be more, a little bit more like effective. I just want to make sure that I'm using all of your time. I want to respect you guys to the utmost with your time um, with all this. So I told Jordan that we were going to start with him talking about this pitch deck. Hey, Jordan, if you want, I could either attack this right away or you could share your thoughts to open. I think we should start with you so you can practice just, helping to lead and guide. I think that would be good for you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. I'm basically going to teach you how to be an expert level consultant in like 3 months. It is basically, yeah. Yeah. So don't worry about making mistakes. Fastest way for you to learn is for you to just try. So, like during these meetings, it won't necessarily be every meeting, but when it comes to this pilot program for families, you'll be on point. So just practicing, like practice owning it. I mean, I did the same thing with my kids. Like Isla took over Weequel School when she was like what, 10, and she had no idea how to run a school. By the time she was 11, she knew how to run a school. you know? So yeah, just attack this as though you own it, and I'll just guide you along the way. And yeah, like you're at a board meeting and you're gonna kick this thing off. Like, all right, people, we got a pilot program. We're gonna kick this off. I've got some thoughts about what's gonna be in this pitch deck. Feel free to share your thoughts on this after I get done running through some of these things. We'll have a chat, and then we can go to the next point in the agenda. Something along those lines. All right, I'll shut up now. All right, I'll sing while you are getting organized. What other song should we sing, Amboya? This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, no, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, yeah, I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Yeah. Can you guys tell I'm in a good mood? Man, I am burning with positivity this morning. I think I've been like waiting all year for that connection with Sume to happen. It's weird having a daughter that's like at a higher level, because I'm used to being the one that walks in the room. Like I wasn't even really aware of this. Like if you're the one who has the highest level of clarity, like in that slow chart, like basically your whole adult life, you don't know that, by the way. I just found that chart. And that chart doesn't say everything. These are just like fragments. Because the higher up you go, the the fewer humans are there, right? It provides some rough approximations in that chart of like the percent of the population, and like 80% of people are like stuck at the bottom. It's like most people are just like stuck at the bottom of, like, you know what I mean? So it's like that's everywhere. And so like one thing that I don't have a lot of experience with is like what it's like to be in the room and having conversations with people that perceive things that I didn't, you know? And, you know, like I'm just guessing that you guys feel that when you're talking to me. I'm not used to feeling that. I've been feeling that around Sume for like 2 years. Weird. Like, whoa, like it's been like a slow dawning. That's one reason why I found that was I was trying to better understand what I was experiencing because it was like the first time that I was experiencing this thing, and it was helping me understand other people. I'm like, oh wow, yeah. If you're if you feel like there's people around you that perceive things that you have trouble perceiving, it's like a certain unease that can kind of undermine confidence and make one feel a little insecure and anxious. Well, that's one reason why you don't see me walking around feeling insecure and anxious, right? I just wasn't picking up on that, so like I wasn't even perceiving it. So yeah, my 16-year-old is teaching me how to feel anxious. It's good. I think that's important, actually. It's helping me understand people better, I think. Um, but yeah, man. Well, maybe I could come in with a little bit about Sumesh since I started there while Jordan is getting his ducks in a row. Or we could go to Abhinav. I was talking to Abhinav. I called Abhinav earlier today, like an hour ago, to apologize about not really providing the clarity that I was hoping to around money. And then after that, is he on? Is Abhinav here? Hmm. I tipped him off to mimetic theory and Rene Girard. What'd you think, Abhinav? Yeah, yeah. Kick it off. Tell everybody. Here, Abhinav, don't read it. Just put that down. Try to express in your own words. You're doing great. I mean, this is I get that you just got tipped off to this, but you've experienced this. You're living it. Everybody is. It's everywhere. All right, go. Yeah. Yeah, that's a good. Let me go ahead and add a little bit to the parking lot example, 'cause that's a good one because it's so simple. Everybody can relate to that. What's really interesting about mimetic theory is how much you wanted that parking spot. If you would ask the person an hour previously, they didn't want that parking spot nearly as much. They weren't even aware of that particular spot. But the act of somebody else, so first you kind of want it because obviously you want to park. Somebody else takes the spot. All of a sudden the amount that you value that spot jumps a lot because somebody else signaled that they wanted that spot too. So that like reinforces the value function in our conscious minds. See, like, so coming up with goals and what to value is something that people don't talk about. It's like hidden. We're almost like hiding that conversation from ourselves. But it's actually a very complex process. Kind of like yesterday, I was talking about how hard it is for human beings to coordinate and collaborate, and how money is like a way of solving this favor token problem. And even favor tokens were a way of trying to help improve upon the problem before that, which would just be reciprocation using memory of who did what and who's shirking. Like this basic coordination problem, right? And mimetic theory, mimetic behavior, I would say it's not even really a theory, it's just like mimetic fact, right? Mimetic behavior is another piece of how our brains have culturally evolved to, again, try to improve that coordination problem. It's not really bad. If we didn't have mimetic behavior, then humans would have Rene Girard talks about how mimetic behavior is actually responsible for civilization. Like we wouldn't even be social mammals if we didn't have this probably because the odds of us deciding to value things in a way that like we value the same things would be so challenging. Like it would require like a lot more um, uh, chance and happenstance and luck to share similar values. So mimicking other people's values around you dramatically increases the probability that people will have shared values, right? But of course, the problem is that a lot of things that we value are scarce. Like you talk about scarcity being really critical for value a couple days ago. Wow, this is all like coming together like a curriculum. My wife's taking all these recordings, by the way, and using them to help with a curriculum. So don't worry, this is going to be like put into something a lot neater that you guys can reflect on later, all these impromptu lectures. But like mimetic behavior to helps us to have shared values. And for like basically since the dawn of consciousness, that's when this would have become that's when this would have actually started happening. Like you can't really have this process occur before you have more complex language. Um, but initially, the mimetic desire, that's like the when we desire something because we see other people desiring it, and so then we decide that it must be valuable, then we try to achieve it. Well, what were those things initially, 70,000 years ago, Abhinav? What are the kinds of things that people would desire? Imagine our ancestors 50,000 years ago, they're probably in Kenya, right? South Africa is where the modern day Homo sapiens evolved from because we did take over the world, but in the process we like destroyed the Neanderthals and all the other humanoid species. But consciousness initially occurred in Homo sapiens, modern day Homo sapiens, around 70,000 years ago. You can date that with fossil records. And I'm just imagining, let's do a thought experiment. Like we're living in Kenya 50,000 years ago. This is where all of our ancestors are from. Even if you live in India or Trinidad or America, it doesn't matter. All of our ancestors came out of Africa. And initially, this mimetic behavior would have been occurring back then too. But what kinds of things would we be observing other people valuing back then? It was a simpler world. I'm asking. Just kind of, just think about it. Just imagine. I'll add some mood music to the background. Food, of course. Of course, food. Yeah, of course. Yes. What else? Yeah. You can imagine some tribes fighting over a cave. That's like the first parking lot. This is my cave, right? Very practical things, right? What's a common one with men? Woman. They might see a girl and be like, "Hey, yeah, I kind of like that girl," but then some other guy's like, "Yeah, I already picked out that girl. That girl's mine." And be like, "No, she's not. That's my girl." Same thing as a parking lot, right? All of a sudden, boom! Like you kind of like the girl before, but as soon as some other guy wants her, all of a sudden, boom! Nothing else matters. You'll be willing to die fighting for that girl now, right? Does that sound like somebody who has free will? Nope. Nope. The girl one's hilarious. That's just like that was so obvious. Guys just totally lose their minds. And they're like, "What happened to me? That girl wasn't even all that great." They're just like, but some other guy wants that girl. All of a sudden, everybody wants that girl, right? But that one's tale as old as time, you might say. Food, shelter, clothing, girls, and like with the girls too, of course. Although like with girls, it's like, usually like the guys would kind of like fight it out. There's like a game. So notice how with guys they'll also have like guys will come up with silly little challenges. Like King of the Rock, like in the movie Mulan. I am King of the Rock. You know, is the Rock really all that important? No. But as soon as one guy stands naked up on that rock while the other ones are bathing, they're just sitting there trying to wash their balls, right? And then one dude stands up there on the rock and is like, I'm king of the rock. And those dudes went from not caring about that rock or even being aware of that rock, and then all of a sudden they're fighting over who gets to stand on the rock, right? And then the girls will watch the boys fight over the rock, and then as soon as one man reigns triumphant over the rock, that's when the mimetic behavior hits the girls. And they're like, well, I want that boy that's up on that rock. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, look at him. Oh, he's so strong. Look what he did. He knocked all those other boys into the pond. Yeah, I want that man. That man is mine, right? And then they start doing the most nasty things to try to undermine the other girls, you know, just atrocious. Just anything and everything they possibly can do to try to get that man's attention. That's King of the Rock. And the whole thing started because some idiot dude decided that he was going to create a contest out of nothing, fighting over who's King of the Rock. Look at that. 99% of the behavior that you see on Twitter, in high schools with people fighting over girls or all this stuff, just like the social hierarchy game and all these things, is basically the equivalent in terms of its real value for like finding happiness and success and wisdom to the equivalent of the game of King of the Rock and Mulan. I think that's one reason why these hats make people smile, because they're kind of ridiculous. And it just shows that I'm not trying to win some game of being like, I am the most powerful man. Everybody needs to respect me, damn it. I'm successful and good looking, and I did it, and everybody should do what I did because I'm the best. Everybody should want to be like me. That's why I'm wearing this hat, right? It kind of like says the opposite of that. I think it's why it makes people smile. Because I'm just like out there every day, and my wife too, just like, but especially me, just like wandering around with my kids or whatever. And people see this and they go, that guy ain't even playing the game. And for some people, what we've noticed is that for people that are kind of shallow, they'll look at that and they'll be like, that silly hat. It's not nearly as good as this hat I bought from like Gucci or whatever. They got like their little, I don't really know a lot of brands, but I'm guessing Gucci's like one of these brands. We're like, look at me. I spent $5,000 on a bag. Look at me. I'm so successful. And I'll just be like, look at me. I spent nothing on this hat that my daughter made. Yeah, like, right. But then there's the people that are kind of like old enough, wise enough that they can kind of know by now because they've spent enough time fighting over rocks that that's kind of a mirage. They kind of sense that it didn't really help them in the past, right? You can look back and see that a lot of the things that people get all hyped up over and lose their shit over, and like they care so much about something and then they realize that it wasn't all that important, right? Like just the longer you live, the more it becomes apparent that the king of the rock game is everywhere, but it's just a mirage and it just distracts people from what's really important. And so people that are kind of a little bit more aware will see that initially they'll see the hat and they'll just be like, and then they'll be like, that guy is not playing the game because he just outgrew the game. He grew past the game. He's not playing the game. It's not because he gave up on the game. It's because he realized that it's just a game, right? It's like the guy that stays in the water, even though one guy's like king of the rock, and he's like, I'm king of the rock. And then there's another guy in the pond that's like, yep, you're king of the rock. I'm gonna finish washing my balls, and then I'm gonna go hang out with my kids. You know, like just not. It's fine. Good for you. Have fun up on that rock. You know what I mean? Mm. But it's hard to do if all the other dudes are fighting over the rock, especially if you know that all the ladies are watching on the side of the lake being like, who's going to take that rock? You know what I mean? Right? That's the hard part. Emotionally, like it to you know, I probably don't need to tell you guys that it's difficult to get past that. It's really, really, really hard to to get past that. Um, that's also why I say it's easier, Abhinav, for it might be easier. Well, I don't know. Remember, we were having a debate about whether or not it's easier if you have money to kind of not worry about it and think that it's important for signaling. And then a boy is like, I don't know. And that's true because you look at people like, well, I was using the example of Michael Jackson, um, and who's that actor? Mission Impossible. Tom Cruise, where like they're still trying to prove that they're king of the rock, to the point that it's they just keep going. And it's one thing like as opposed to Dick Van Dyke who like made like this extraordinarily successful movie Mary Poppins and then he just kind of was like I've got enough. I'm going to go spend the next 50 years just singing and dancing with my family because I have enough now. I satisfied my needs now. I have more than enough. I don't need anything else. So now I'm going to do what I think is most valuable. And it's not trying to just continue proving something, right? Um, Another one would be like Arnold Schwarzenegger. He was married to a very kind of famous person, a Kennedy, John F. Kennedy's daughter or something. She was a model and very successful, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, a Kennedy, a Kennedy!" And Arnold Schwarzenegger married her, but then he cheated on her with the maid in their house. And she wasn't even like a good looking maid. She was kind of overweight and like just not really like, at least not like in the common vernacular or the common way of thinking. Like she wasn't somebody, certainly not like, come on, like you already married like the supermodel, you know, daughter of a former president. Like what else do you want, dude? Right? And he just kind of screwed it all up, just like he just kept going, just like take, you know, like just kind of to get Tiger Woods, similar kind of thing where he famous golfer, right? And but it just ruined his marriage and his family because he was just like running around having sex with every girl that was like, "Oh my God, you're so good at swinging that stick!" Oh, you know. Um, they're not actually in control. I think that that's the part that's scary is that looking back, I don't think that these guys are thinking to themselves that they were actually in control of their own minds. I think they're looking at this going, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, why did I already had all the things that were important. I had all, I was kind of set. Why did I ruin it? Um, and I think it runs deeper. I think that with Dick Van Dyke, he wasn't even motivated to try to have the most successful movie ever. If you listen to him talk about Mary Poppins, he was moved by the music. He wanted to create the movie because he thought the music would inspire children and be helpful and valuable, right? Like that's another thing about getting in the right mindset. Like if the wrong motivations drive you, it's really hard to create truly amazing anything, right? Um, Not so important when the only things out there that are really valuable are things like food, shelter, clothing, get the girl, right? Like, what do you need to get those things? It can almost help to be kind of stupid as a man, right? Think about it. King of the Rock, that's Genghis Khan. I think something like 15% of humans walking this planet are genetically related to Genghis Khan, right? Well, so he won. Okay, genetically, Genghis Khan did it. So if you want to win and you think the game of life is genetics, then in the past, the secret would be to, I guess, rape as many women as you possibly can. Something seems off about that. He also died young, like he didn't end up, because of course, like he made a lot of enemies, destroying and raping and pillaging everywhere he went. I guess technically today you could do it just by donating to as many sperm banks as you possibly can. Like don't even bother having sex with anybody. Just constantly be like, saving all of your semen in little vials and donating it to sperm banks all over the place as much as you possibly can, right? Like if it's really about genes, right? Even more, make clones of yourself. Because like if it's really your genes, then why even bother just like, with semen? Just like you have the best genes in you. So you want to make like I want to get as much money as I can so I can make as many clones of Joe so that there can just be Joes across the galaxy. And they'll all wear hats like this so everybody knows that we're king of the rock. If you take these to their logical extremes, you can see right away that they don't really make any sense. They certainly won't give you clarity, which I think is the actual goal. Because the more clarity you have, well, God is good. God created the heavens and the earth, and the more you can understand that creation, the more you will be filled with joy. That's what I found to be true. That's what I found to be true. Yeah. What do you think? I actually have a YouTube channel that's just basically Sakuri and Elden Ring sitting on the edges of mountains, mostly staring at the horizons of this game. It's just no music because I'm not really putting time in. I'm just recording. I just save screen recordings and stick it on this channel. It's got 10 subscribers. I use it sometimes when I'm talking to my wife. I I'll pull this up on the TV and I'll just turn the volume off because there's no like I didn't like edit out like something nice. It's literally just the video recording of me of my character just sitting on a ledge, just staring off into like some beautiful part of this game. Um, but then I'll bring a speaker and I'll play Lo-Fi Girl music. You guys heard of Lo-Fi Girl on YouTube? Lo-Fi Girl. Oh my God. There's this one where she's petting a cat, staring at fireworks. And we just like listen to that all the time. So I'll play that in the background while watching Sakuri just staring off into like some sunset or something. I can send you guys that channel. There's nothing there. It's just a bunch of my characters staring at beautiful scenery in Elden Ring, basically. Um, but yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm chilling in my man cave. Just now it's raining and there's like some fog. See, it just changes all the time, and that's so cool. Mm. Anyway, yeah, you want to break free of this mimetic behavior. I think that it served a purpose. It served a very important evolutionary purpose. Like consciousness came into existence and it helped. I mean, by helped I mean it helped humans to survive and thrive and take over the planet. But it didn't help people become uh, happy. Happiness isn't the goal, right? Like the goal of genetics. Sorry, I don't even think it's the goal of life. I think it ends up you end up finding joy through understanding, but I think it's clarity. I think that's the goal. I want to share with you guys this. This is the book that I'm writing with my wife. We're basically taking. I know the purpose of the book now. It's not a biography. It's not the story of my family. It is going to be a short book, as short as possible, um, explaining as like a manual on how to live life. And we're going to use it as a big chunk of the prompt engineering for Master Wu for our AI. I figured that out. That's one reason why I'm singing so much. I'm in a really good mood because I figured some things out. I might even actually, as a point of making some real progress here, I might just read to you the introduction of this book so you guys get a feel because you'll love this. Okay, check this out. One day you wake up and realize something quiet but terrifying. You were born into the middle of a game you never agreed to play. The board was already set, the rules were never explained. Everyone around you seems to be moving very quickly as if they know what they are doing. Do well in school, get a job, make money, be successful, be a good child, a good citizen, a good parent, chase security, stability, love, status, freedom, whatever your culture calls winning. But if you slow down, really slow down, and ask the simplest questions, the ground starts to shake. What game am I actually playing? Who told me these were the rules? What does winning even mean? In that moment, you're not just confused, you're awake. This book begins there, at the moment of waking up, in the middle of the game. How's that for a cool intro to a book? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool. Yeah, no problem. I'll share some of this as soon as I think that probably within a week my wife will be like, yeah, we can share some of these. I can copy some stuff and pop it in there too, like the but it's you can see how some of this is basically I think it's really important for our users when they're using our agent to also know why they're using our agent, right? I was explaining some of this to Abhinav earlier, but basically the issue is that the way that large language models are designed, they're not even attempting to provide a frame. A frame is still there, but the frame is just an averaging out of the motivations and perceptions of all of the people that contributed to the training data. So there's no intentional framing. So I'm quite confident that we're on the right track. And I don't say that very often. Like this is a very happy Joe you're looking at over here. I want you to see my face. Is um all right, Jordan. So you're gonna be playing the role of a uh you should think of yourself as almost uh, uh consulting is a really great way to think about yourself. This is what I taught my kids too. I was like, think like a consultant. You solve problems. That was early career for me, and it was instrumental in helping me become very successful very quickly. So you're the lead consultant whose task is to identify and support uh, uh, families that are going to be part of a trial program for Wequal app retooled to support families um, with the goal of building uh, shared clarity and understanding, shared purpose, shared meaning, really this fellowship concept, hoping that we can solve this problem of social media, which has largely so far done the opposite for families. And and so just practice kind of like getting in that headspace and kind of presenting like that, even though I'm sort of like almost putting words in your mouth, but it's sort of like a fake it till you make it. It'll just trust me. 3 months from now, it'll all make sense.